Hello, everyone. We are live, and hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me check my mic because I have been having mic issues recently. But it does look like it is picking up something. So, sounds good. It looks like Frieza also says it sounds good, so that's cool. Let's switch over to presenting my screen as usual, and we'll get started. Okay, cool. So I have a Jupyter Lab here. And yeah, today's stream is going to be kind of an interesting one, I think. We have some kind of ideas, right, of having a personal agent. And there are startups that are totally doing that. And I think that the idea of having like a universal personal agent might not be the right way of doing things. Because it's a personal agent, right? Like when you get a personal assistant, which I haven't done, but I can imagine, you kind of want to deal with someone who is, who works the way that you want to work yourself, right? And they're just helping you with that, with those things. So I kind of think that what a lot of people are doing of like having just Siri or just the Google Assistant, that being the main personal assistant for your life, is probably not a good way of going about things. I think it would be better if people are able to define their own kind of agents, and of course I would, right? It's because I'm me. So what I want to do here is put together a framework or a component library for doing that. And I do have some interesting kind of tests that I've done before. If you recall, we had the email integration, or the email components, right? Which I think are in here somewhere. Yeah, we had the email components, we have the Hugging Face actors, we have things like Discord, Slack, and of course the GPT agent toolkit, and kind of giving the bot the ability to run code. And what I've discovered recently is you can do a lot with AppleScript. I knew AppleScript for a long time, right? I did a lot of Mac administrative work back in college, so I'm very familiar with AppleScript. But AppleScript as a tool makes things really interesting, I think. Now, of course, if you're on Windows, you don't have AppleScript, so we don't want to like hard code AppleScript into this thing. But what I would like to do is, with a framework, build a minimum, like agent that is able to run AppleScript on my computer and help me with things. And interestingly enough, you might see here there's this like no task kind of thing here. There's some to-do stuff. And this thing is actually a Pomodoro timer that I didn't really create. I had this idea of I want a timer that looks at my to-do list, my reminders in Mac, and allows me to pick one and then display it on there, while I'm working on it for 25 minutes. And then it'll switch to break mode. And when it switches to break mode, I want it to write in that task that I've spent 25 minutes at this time, right? That way I can see in my task list, like which ones have I actually worked on, and I wanted to have a log of that. And yeah, is able to do that kind of stuff, using AppleScript. And in that same, I think either just before that, making that app with GPT-4, like I didn't write it myself, kind of told GPT what I wanted. It made more or less what I wanted, and then I fixed it. But either just before, just after that app, I kind of came up with this assistant prompt, if I could find it. And I know I have it here because I just shared it with somebody the other day, or like the thing this morning, I shared it. But anyway, that assistant can do, here it is. So yeah, the assistant can do stuff like this, right? So it says tool OSA script, and then, it tells application calendar to do stuff, right? And then after that, it does stuff, and yeah, I thought that was really cool because it is able to get this task list. So this isn't integrated with my computer. What I would have it do is it would say tool and then give me some OSA script, and then I would run that, and then I'd paste the result in this conversation, say that I change it to a system message, and then send it, and then see how it responded. So I was able to go to the task list, get the tasks, and then tell me, schedule some time for me to do that task on my calendar. And I thought that was really cool. And it worked like kind of out of the box. And I wanted to kind of get the tools for that, plus a couple of other features. One of them being, if you see here, it says, any other actions would you like to perform? If not, respond with no. Response. Yeah. With no. And this is the thing what I'm talking about with the framework. What I wanted to do is let it do the thing, let it see the result, and then the system will ask it anything else. If there is more stuff, then it continues. And if there is no more stuff, it stops. But then also, I want to have this running periodically. So every few minutes, it has, it gets woken up and says, this is the current state of things. Would you like to do something, right? And then see if we can get it to make a plan of, here are the things that I would like to do, and then it would do those things, and then kind of continue working until there's nothing else to do. It says no, it stops, and then the timer gets set again. So that way, it's something that's like has the ability to run in the background and keep an eye on me, essentially, right? Or not sure keeping an eye on me is exactly what I want for the AI, but having an assistant that can do that, and then ping me if there's anything special, or just tell me, hey, did you finish that thing or not, right? Something along those lines is what I would like to do. And I've seen some parts of the internet that are dealing with these things, and they have a client like Technologic but more advanced, and they have that kind of thing where if you don't respond in a certain amount of time, they'll inject some prompt, or get the character to respond again, and you can choose what that silence is, right? Like you could either make that silence be a ... like if it were a conversation, and you can imagine how that makes conversations more natural. But in here we can, I want to make it so that you choose what gets sent, right? And I don't want it to just be a user. I kind of want to take advantage of system message to make this be a 3-person thing, and hopefully GPT-4 will understand that, and possibly add functions in here so that we could take advantage of the function kind of thing. It's been on my to-do list to add functions. We haven't done that yet, so we might do those things essentially in the stream, and try and get like a an assistant that's just available for me. And I'm not sure if I'll do the OSA script. I'm not too happy with this idea of having this agent be running things on my computer. Because I don't know what it would do, right? Like, there's a little too much power. I'd rather have it just have the ability to send me messages or not, right? So yeah, that's what I think we're gonna do today. Not very low level, even though I think this, last time we talked, I was gonna say this was gonna be a lower level stream. But you can kind of imagine this is a little low level. But yeah, so let's get started with that. So, of the things that are here, I don't think I'm missing something from the Flask. So, yeah, here I have, I think, an old version of the Flask that does not have a timer cron thing. And what I would like, I'm not sure if I would like it to be limited to like Slack, right? Having it run on its own Flask server is something I like because I can host it somewhere else, which makes it easy. And I can have a kind of private conversation with it. It doesn't have to go through Slack or something like that. And the problem is then how does it ping me when it needs to, let me know. And I think that's something where I could use Slack. So I could have a kind of notify user type of tool available that allows you to then, make that be whatever you want it to be. So either send you an email or ping you on Slack or Telegram or what have you. And yeah, and then otherwise you're just running it inside of its own thing. And I think so I'm using the latest version of Jupyter Lab here. I'm going to continue doing that. Platform is a little old now, but Platform does have, or the ExpressAI platform, it does have some components I've been working on, and I would like to download those. So the main thing it has is something called Converse, which I think is shaping up to be pretty good. And has Converse and an updated Flask. It also has Gmail on it, and I would like to get those. So I'm going to copy these libraries here into my local computer. So to do that, mainly I can go and I think I can tar up my entire XAI components. CZVF, we'll call it XAI components platform, RGZ. Okay, and then if I do that, I should have an XAI components tarball around here somewhere. Yeah, and then this is something I did before. Now I can just download this thing. So if I go here and download it, the latest things I have running in here on the platform, and then I can deal with that over here. So let me open this. Make a new folder for it. if I extract that, I should get these. And these might be slightly newer or older. And that's why we kind of have them get submodules, so it's easy to keep them up to date. I do kind of want to keep that going forward. But when you have your own libraries that aren't, that aren't in Git, then you have to sync them manually. And I think I will grab, let's go to the projects, press I, or actually this thing is actually running in a folder called Hackathon, because I made it for Hackathon and I've been essentially using it ever since. It's like the thing that I implement most of the stuff with. Okay, so I'm going to, just in case I do have something worth keeping there, I'm going to compress the ones that I'm going to overwrite. I have auto GUI here, right? I don't have auto GUI. And to look at that GPT agent toolkit again, there's something wrong with it. I'm not 100% sure what it is. Like I broke it. Gmail I do not have, so I'll want that. So let's get rid of this old Flask. We'll bring these in here, and Converse. Control flow, I can't remember if I made any significant changes to this. No, I think this one is better. Yeah, this one has the has adder, so I can kind of make things a bit easier. Hugging Face agents. Let me open that with Emacs real quick. Okay, so this has 86 lines, and this one has more. Okay, so that was something that I updated recently. Interactive brokers for trading, LangChain and Llama Index. I'm pretty sure I'm running the latest ones. And then OpenAI, that's something that might not be good. So let's compress that, back it up. And we open this in Emacs. Gotta do it this way. Now, the main thing is I have been playing around with Vision, right? And I think when I'm playing around with Vision, I'm doing it in my local. So this OpenAI should be old. Okay, so let's compare it like it's 1999. Yeah, this one is newer, so I will overwrite it. Okay, so let's trash this old one. Bring in the new one. Okay, and then I think I don't have, or I do have Vertex AI locally, but I don't have it in the cloud. Okay, that makes sense. I have like text processing here, which I don't have here, so I'll bring that in there. Streamlit. I don't have Streamlit. I feel like I would like it. I don't think I need it. Okay, so I think that's everything. So let's close that up. Let's give this a refresh. Okay, and if we look at OpenAI now, it is complete. Oh, there we go. We got Stream Chat, which is good. That's new. And then we should have just more stuff. I think these support images now. Yeah. So that's good. Now, what I want is a skills folder. I'm going to get rid of these. Because these are built. Okay, so these ones are made for Hugging Face agents. What I didn't like about them, or what I don't like about Hugging Face agents in general, is that it can't deal with failure. And if the idea of what it wanted to do turns out to not work out, it fails, and it doesn't do anything about it. But it does work. When it works great, right? Like, so when I tell it, get these scans of these documents and add that information to the spreadsheet, one of the demos that I do, that works just fine. And that was impressive. So I do like the ability that it has, but one of the other problems is that to do that, it downloads these big ass models and runs it locally. And if your computer isn't beefy enough, it's just not going to run. And yeah, it's not a good thing. I think I would rather have something that's like that, but it just, it only does the things that I have told it to do. So if I didn't specify any model, I don't want it to do anything else, right? I'm not sure if I want to call it skills or not. I want to call it skills. What's in this? You can see my experiment. So this is another thing. So this is a concept from the Voyager paper, and I should bring up some of the papers. I'm not pretending like I'm doing this on my own. Totally doing this, reading papers. Although I think there's definitely a lot of ideas that I've mentioned in this channel before the papers. It doesn't devalue the papers or anything. Just I think that some of these things are a lot more obvious than they might seem at first. But Voyager, very, very popular paper, and it's about doing Minecraft and things like that. And the thing about this one that I would like to take from here is that I want the agent to be able to code its own skills and then start using those skills. Okay, so like this add new skill, then we have the skill library. That's kind of where this idea came from. I'm pretty sure I made this before this paper. Doesn't matter. And then there's this other idea of Rust meets React, a very recent paper that talks about this kind of self-critique thing. So there's a decision, then there's the tool call, and then there's the output, and then it summarizes the output, and that's something that we haven't done. Usually we take the output and then we send it straight to a thing, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's kind of good when you're browsing the web to summarize the important parts of the page, and that's one. That makes the job of the downstream a little bit easier. And then this terminate call, right? Like, do we have everything that we need to do the answer? And then it has this relevance self-check and grounding self-check, and then finally the final answer. And there's no code for this, but essentially you can, like they draw it in a graph here. So if you just draw it with circuits, right, like you get the same thing. And the fact that they explain it with the graph is kind of why I believe in circuits. I think they do have in the appendix some of the prompts. We might look at those prompts for our thing. Yeah, so there's that paper. And of course, there's the multi-agent collaboration. And this is kind of nice, but LLMs are not, they're not as smart, right, as you might expect. So this idea of having a prompt be the AI is no good, right? Now the other extreme to this is having like the mind framework thing that I was doing for one of the streams. And I think that is required, but not, or it's maybe not required. It would be nice to have a much more generally capable agent, but not necessary. Yeah. Yeah, and then the other thing is the book, and I think we'll be using the book quite a lot. Let me see if I can find it here. I know where it is. I can't remember I don't know why I can't remember the name. It's so dumb. But I have it in Documents Books. Up. And it should be a modern approach. That's it. So in the modern approach book, modern being many years ago, they do have their section on agents where they're talking about it high level. And I think that in the current, unfortunately, you can't see the graphs in this PDF scan. But the things that were discussed here are prompt streams that you can do now. And I'm going to take advantage of one of the later ones, because that one meshes well. I think something like this one. So if we zoom in this one, it meshes well with the Google paper that we just looked at, which is this part, which is what is the world like now? This is something that not a lot of people do, and I think it's important because when implementing the browser plugin, it's quite often where it would just make stuff up, right? Like have this idea of what the world is like, right? That there are certain things that exist, even though they don't. And then I want it to think about what will happen if it does a certain action, right? And then compare what happened with that, and then use that to update the state, right? So we have a state, which is something that I would like the agent to kind of keep around and work from there. So yeah, and then the other thing is the planning. So we've talked about using logic, like things from Prolog and things like that for planning. And I do think that that's the way to go. But essentially a baby AGI style, like task list, like the later ones that have the dependencies and everything, would probably work pretty well. And you don't necessarily need a program to get all the dependencies in place. Yeah, and I think that will have to do for now. Like the real ideal involves learning stuff. And while we could totally make a tool that kicks off a training process, I'm not sure a tool is the right job, because when we're learning, we're not really conscious of it, so we don't need to make a decision to learn. It's more like, stuff happens, and that stuff is stressful and bad, and so our body kind of makes a note of that. And then when we're asleep, I do think our brain then imagines various scenarios and goes over through it during dreaming, which enables the brain to kind of remember stuff and learn things by kind of forming these false memories type of deal. And man, it would be great if we could do that, but I don't think we need to do that right now. The framework itself can leave that part open, and instead we focus on the other thing. So anyway, so let's make an agent folder, just because like my root is getting kind of crazy. Now, I think what we want is, what was this called? There was a thing that Microsoft made. There was a worker agent and then a receptionist. What was it called? Yeah, it could have been like receptionist or something along those lines. Now, what I'm thinking is not necessarily a component library. So that's why I didn't say it's a component library. I was saying it's more like a framework, because I think it will be best if it had kind of a structure to it, and then you would just like add in more stuff. So let's call this assistant. Let's have skills. And what else? It'd also be kind of cool, like looking at Halo. Cortana ran on like an SD card, and I thought that'd be kind of cool. Like if I could have an SD card with the assistant and I just like plug it into a machine, then it would have everything it needs to run the assistant, and all that state would get saved on that chip. and I can pull it from that machine, move it to another machine, put it in, and do the same thing. That would be kind of cool. At the same time, I don't want to necessarily deal with a local vector database right now. Rather deal with Vecto, because that's what I know. The Chroma, I guess, should work. And when I say like runs from the SD card, that would include like the language model. So it'd be very nice if there's, you just had a big SD card, plug it in, you could run something, and yeah, you'd have your agent, and it would run from that local model, and just kind of like live periodically in that machine. Yeah, okay. So we'll have skills. I want a place for like data, The interesting thing is like the prompts. So prompts can get a little hairy in circuits, and we have plans to have like a conversation and stuff like that. I don't think we have them here. Yeah, there's this literal chat, and that's good, I guess. So if you do like a system role and say you are a helpful assistant, you can get that literal chat. It just makes a conversation, and then in OpenAI, when you do something like OpenAI chat, it takes a conversation. And this is a list. Why? What is your problem? Chat is a list. These goblins. Okay. And now I'm saying it. Just watching too much pirate software. Now it says everything's a goblin, and now I'm getting into saying goblins. Anyway, we can reload that into an any, and then that will accept our conversation, which is a list. So that really should work. But yeah, you can double click on this and then add messages, and have a user or assistant or a function, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty nice. Do we want more though? I'm not 100% sure. Should the framework have our skills? Do we want prompts? It could also be like kind of a space for personal information for the thing. Kind of got to be careful with that stuff. I mean, of course, we'll if we're going to be dealing with Slack and these kind of things, we do need a folder for those. We do need a folder for those like credentials. We don't need a folder, but having a folder with credentials might be nice. Not sure. I'm on the fence with that one because it depends on how you plan to integrate your agent. Man, would it be cool if we could have a fine tune happening in the background. Yeah, let's go with let's make the UI, something simple, and then see what we need to do from there. Okay, so we'll create a server with no authentication. Probably not the best idea. Then we'll define an agent. I'm going to call this one Zybo, because that's just the name of our agent. We have that domain, so we're just going to use that. Now we have on message, and you'll get the message from the user. Now this is not ideal. We want probably more, right? So we probably want the conversation, which is a list of stuff, or a list of chats, and then the last message. That makes it easy for people to just make something that only responds to the last message and not the rest of the conversation. And okay, so that's the last user message. The self dot conversation dot value should be the messages, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let's make the dumbest bot in the world. That would be kind of funny. So after we've defined that, we're just going to run it. Set debug mode to true for now. Makes it easy for us to play around with things. When we get on message, we are going to concat string. Let's refresh this, reload that node. Put that last message with a bunch of exclamation points. So cool. Okay, so it's going to really help us out with our self-esteem. And then in Converse, we want to, I don't think we can stream respond, can we? Yeah. Okay, so we can respond normally with that. Now, if we save and compile this and run it, we need Flask cores. Fine, not a problem. We might need a couple of other things. I think we might need to upgrade to OpenAI. Okay. And of course, Multigon. Can I upgrade Multigon? cool. So that made life easier. Okay, let's run that. Can't run on 8888. I need that. But in we need to run 8888 in platform. But here we can't because we're running JupyterLab on 8888. So go self.port.value. Self.port.value is none else 888. Okay. And I'll reload this. If self.port is none. Okay, so we'll set that to be 5001. Okay, so let's run that. Address is already in use. Oh, you know what else? I think I've forgotten. I need Technologic. So let's do that too. So Converse comes with an embedded version of Technologic. I don't think we use anything other than Favicon.io. But I'm just going to pull this public here. Go. Now in public, we can download that. Cool. So I'll download that. Let's put that over here. Just in case I need it again. Okay, and we will open up this folder. Put that in here somewhere. Let's uncompress that. Okay. And then in projects, hackathon, need that public in here. Actually, we made it in agent, right? So it would want to be an agent. There we go. Okay, so we have our public. Okay, so I think that's not going to work, but we can launch it anyway. Assistant.py. So let's go agent directory, Python assistant.py. We need the components to be in here. But I can also run it from here. No, we can't. Never mind. Okay, so let's just put everything somewhere else. Okay. Let me rename this to be old skills. Okay, and then we should have our assistant.circuits. We should be in the project, and then if I do Python assistant.py, should have something. And yeah, we can see Technologic here. Now, because we're not streaming the output, this will not work. So let's quit out of that. Let's go back here. Instead of this concat string, let's do some OpenAI stuff. OpenAI chat, stream chat, GPT 3.5 Turbo. Right, let's put the entire conversation in there. Set our max tokens to be 2048. Then we have our completion stream, which we stream respond like so. Okay. Now, if that is compiled, let's bring this down here so that I can do both at the same time. Python assistant, then here we do post 5001. Okay, so now with our Converse or Technologic, we should be able to make a Zybo bot. So if we go here, backend, Express AI, let's edit that. Make a Zybo, set that as the default save. Do something like that. We should be able to start a new conversation and say, hi, how are you? And get results like that. Cool. So now we have re-implemented ChatGPT, and that's, that's not what we want. That's partially. It's not even the first step. But that's kind of nice, I guess. And if we wanted to secure it, we can specify an auth token, and then you'd have to specify that auth token in your backend here to get that to work. Okay, so let's take let me open this just to verify. So if I'm not mistaken, we have a conversation that gets put here, and then we have our system added to it. This also doesn't work as as the conversation gets to be ridiculously long. That's not going to work. So so I have this thing I was showing before, right? It has a very specific system message that I think works. So what I want to do, we have a conversation. I want the system message to be in the first part of this conversation. If it is not there already. Now, because this is Technologic, you can totally edit this and then make this a system message, right? So I kind of want it to be, if there is a system message in the first part, then we use that. But if not, then we add our own system message. We could do that inside of here. Makes that a little weird though, doing it inside of there. Like we'd have like an init system prompt. And then these are like append, right? Append system prompt, append user prompt. Let's make this a little bit smarter. I think that should be okay. So if messages, so if there's more than one message, and if messages 0 role is not system, then we want messages dot what was the opposite of append? Let's make this useful. How do you append how do you prepend a Python list? Because I forget right now. Insert 0, yeah. Okay, so that's the case, then insert 0 self. Okay, so this is the message. So MSG is equal to that. So insert at 0. Now if role is equal to system and we get a system, then we want to append. And if so, we kind of want else append message and then else append. And I really want to combine those two, but maybe in a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll need to do that otherwise. I think that kind of makes sense. So if there's a conversation and it doesn't have a system prompt, then add it, and it'll happen once. I think that makes sense. So let's make our system prompt be that prompt that I had before. Let's do that. Then this one knows who I am, so that makes it kind of useful. And it can do this tool stuff. And I would like to see the tools happening as they do their thing. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go here, start a new conversation. Say, hi, What time is it right now? Good done. Okay, so we need a proper conversation, like a conversation template. We need to like merge things. Did I have append conversation? Maybe that's like a smarter thing. Let's look at OpenAI. Yeah, there's a join conversations. This really could use an expand port, so let's do that. I mean, not now, but later. And I want conversation 1 to be special. We're going to get a conversation from as we send that over, the conversation will include the thing we sent or not. Might not. Or it might, but I don't think Technologic keeps track of that. Because, I mean, it doesn't show up here, right? So, yeah, let's make something kind of simple here. So let's do a chat. Or we start with system, which says that, right? Then we have a user saying good morning, or maybe like hi. What is the time right now? And then we want the assistant to say tool, date. And then system will say something. What does the date syntax look like? Let's do something like this. Right, and then the assistant will then respond. It is Friday, January 26th. And help you with today. Submit. Okay, so now we have this chat. Get rid of this one. Give ourselves some room. We will join this conversation list. This is a list. Why is chat not a list? Let's reload the node. Now it can take anything. Let's give it that conversation. Get rid of this one. Put that one as conversation 2. And then the auto connects. It's great when the auto connecting works. Very frustrating when it doesn't. Okay, and then on message will join these conversations. And this should be, a lot. See, this is an instance of it not working. That's not what I wanted. Okay, and then it erased everything. No. This conversation goes to 2. Thank you. Okay. So actually, I kind of wonder if instead of that, I should say instead of date, it'll be tool. Let's say Python. Does this not support multi-lines? That would suck if it didn't support multi-lines. I really want it to have multiple lines. See if I can hack that in there by copying one. Okay. Tool import os.system date. And something like that. Okay. So now, if I do this, it runs this Python code. And then if we disable auto send here, and I were to run this code, and then make a system message with this, send that. Yeah, now it's getting, right? So we have the beginnings of a very useful system here. Now the stream chat. So I think there's just one more thing that we need to do, which is we want this stream chat to be just the response, right? So like this backend stuff, we want that to not be, not be a part of it. And we want a timer. The annoying part is for this UI, that timer will have to be in here, which I don't like. You could totally have technology do the server-side events of the server. And make do notifications. Can you do notifications like localhost? Hmm. I see. You gotta unsafely treat insecure origin as secure. Don't like that. Hmm. Okay, so that's the beginning. So that's what we can do today. How do we make this better? Hmm. I mean, I think it can, because it has the Apple script, it could totally notify me. So if I were to ask it that, like, can you remind me in 5 minutes to do the dishes? Timeout 300. It's not wrong. It's like kind of dumb, but yeah, like if it says timeout 300 and the system then waits 5 minutes and then says 300 seconds elapsed or something like that, then it does something. That would work. But I think it should be able to should be able to use AppleScript for that. At least I thought it could. Whatever. It is GPT 3.5 anyway, so can't fault it too much. Let's make this into a proper framework. So say I have a skills folder. I have assistant. So the problem here is that, so this agent is kind of okay. But if we want it to do, the thing here, we need sub agents to do that. Actually, instead of this tool thing, let's see what we can do with a Hugging Face agent. So we do Hugging Face agent. Right. And we make a tool. I also have this make skill. I don't think this is implemented yet. Yeah, it's not implemented yet, but it's essentially the same thing. The idea is that it has a name and does stuff. What I would like it to do is to read all the skills in the folder. Read the skill creator. How do you manage all different agents in a clean way? It's kind of like this idea of prompts. We want different sub-agents that, like worker agents, that the receptionist would call. And I think Microsoft made a framework for that. Whose name I cannot remember right now. AutoGen. Yeah, this is it. I want something that's like AutoGen. It has an assistant agent and a user proxy agent. The user talks to the user proxy agent. I think so. There's an AutoGen Studio now. Interesting. And we want agent chat, assistant agent. System message, configuration is termination message. Human input mode and description. Conversing agent. It's kind of not what I want. Hmm. Does Hugging Face tool even still work? The tool reference which goes there. Hmm. Okay, so this is a framework for creating agents. So this could be the front-end assistant, right? And a folder for workers. And in the folder, we have a circuits file. What's a sample that we could use? That's simple. Let's say this gets an argument of the goal. So if it gets a goal, I really hate that this is a triangle. Should not be triangle, should be this. GPT agent toolkit. An executor and tool runner. Then we would call this the programmer. Hmm. I have the feeling we want something along these lines, right? That's slightly different. Hmm. The programmer, or it could call. What else would it call? Let's go back to the Bible. Think about this one. It's like, man, that's some advanced stuff. Model-based utility agent. Hmm. I do have the feeling that so Converse is really a chat bot kind of like framework. So I guess it can be a little limiting. Instead of that, use the new Flask tools here. Create app. Did I do that? One second. Let's go back to the components. Let's then let's take this, bring that back. And then trash for now. Yeah, Flask init scheduler. and create an interval job. What I don't like about Flask is how it's not really composable. So if like Converse is using Flask, so I mean, it's both using the same context variable, so they are actually composable. This could work a little bit better as like having something on Slack or Discord makes it so that it can send a message at any time, and that's the main thing. I kind of want this thing to be running and able to ping me, and have more importantly than that is it has the idea to spend cycles on thinking about things. Right? That's the idea there. More than just having some kind of notification system. It's like I want the agent to be able to run in the background, and then if it needs to ping the user, it can use a tool to do that. Is Zybo still? So let's init that Discord trigger branch there. And here, Discord client init. Everything's locked, but that was not on purpose. I don't think I'll ever lock things on purpose. The other thing about the Hugging Face style tools is that we want to be constantly updating them. Or do we? Because the front-end agent that's interacting with the user doesn't really need to do anything, and instead it can spawn workers like meeseeks, and they can give it an explicit goal, and from there it sees what skills are available, makes a plan, and then does it. So when you compile circuits, it doesn't have like a help text or anything like that. So how it discovers the tools is an open question. And it could kind of. We have arguments. The arguments have objective. Print that. And end this. And this programmer was in agent prompts. It was in workers, right? And things can really not work outside of the root. Okay, so we can see the help. There's no easy way to add a description, though. So what we had before of specifying the name and the description might be necessary. Then we can't get new agents running. Or we can't have agents make new skills on the fly and then run that. Goal. Find out the current date. Yeah, it's a whole lot of none, so that's not going to work out very well. This is also something that I think broke in the recent update. Man, that is tough to have to keep up with all these willy-nilly API changes. I think it'll get better like in time. But it's kind of like in an annoying state right now. Let me check the scheduler. So once we have made the server, we have a Flask app. So if I nip the scheduler here, and we're define, and then Converse run is there. So we can, in theory, create an interval job here after we define the agent. Make a follow-up job that runs every 60 seconds. Ideally, be more like every 10 minutes or something like that. After that, we run it, and let's just print the timeout occurred. Okay, so let's do that here. Okay, terminal 1 is running. So we just wait 60 seconds here. We should get a timeout occurred message if everything works the way I expect it to. And that gives us a way for the agent to decide to do something in the background periodically. It should be done 10 seconds. Nobody got time for waiting so incredibly long. So dealing with the scheduler, created the interval job, and I did implement this right. Okay, that makes sense why that's not working. So converse run is not special. Right, so we don't need to do converse run here. We can instead do Flask run. It has what is necessary for the timeout. did not happen. Happened twice. Don't like that. Does that mean that if I run this again, it's going to happen 3 times? What does it happen twice? Weird. Is that how interval is supposed to work? It might be. Save these somewhere? I mean, that's what I was thinking. But if that is the case, this would be doing 3 or 4 or 5 now, right? I don't like that it happens twice. I mean, in general, the agent shouldn't really care that it started twice. Okay, so it doesn't matter that much, so maybe we'll ignore that for now. Why does it happen twice? Is it creating a database we can look at? Hmm. Let's see, job is SQLite, so I guess not. Maybe you want to do this type of thing. So we execute, we get the scheduler, and we remove self.job ID value. And then add it. It doesn't exist. Okay. It's not that there's a conflicting older job. What else could cause it to fire twice? I think it's us. Something is interesting about that. Is this some sort of Flask thing? Did I knit it twice? Nope. Does timeout happen? Then it goes to the second one, then it goes to the first one again, but it doesn't do the second one. Why would that happen? So if there's a schedule task thing. We could do it the old-fashioned way too, right? So if we just don't do this, define job, and say scheduler add job, okay, internal. So it would be function would be job interval seconds equals self.seconds.value and ID got multiple values for argument ID. So I'm going to find the actual documentation. It doesn't show how to. Why is the function add job not in there? It's like just mention passive. Now the trigger specific scheduling methods have been removed entirely. Use the add job method. It sounds good. Just show me the thing. Trigger equals none. Args, keyword args, ID, name, date, interval, cron. What am I missing? Values for our group ID. ID is trigger args, keyword args, ID. Schedule job is the decorator. Twice existing equals true. That's what I want, I think. Where is it supposed to get this ID from? It's definitely a little more convenient with a decorator. But scheduled job and scheduler tasks are different things. Why is that doing that? Thanks, BetterStack. Okay, let's go this way. That's Windows tasks there, Joe. You don't care about that. Okay, we are using a specific library. Flask AP scheduler, so we probably need to look at that. Between cron and schedule. You kind of see if cron registers with the cron tab, so even if your application is not running, it will run it. I don't think we want that. Essentially, if I kill the agent, I want it to be dead. I don't want it to come back to life. That's for sure. See some examples. That's not the examples I wanted to see. Why does it fire twice? That is... It's weird. And annoying. Because it will... It's going to kind of mess things up. You leave it like that. And not the end of the world, but it'd be kind of weird if you got like 2 notifications from the bot. In 10 seconds, you should get timeout. Then re-message, and then again. That should not happen. If we remove everything, there's old code running. That's why it's happening twice. Where does this code live? So many questions. Hey, what's the point of the ID if it's not like an ID? Where is this old code coming from? Let's see. Can I get more information about AP scheduling? This is doing too much magic. It's doing more magic than I want. Our scheduler is AP scheduler. See this removing job. Should be able to do it. That's the weird thing. They're saying this is bad. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh, that's why. I'm an idiot. There's a second one. I'll remove that. No job by the ID of follow-up was found. So we can try this. and then add the new one. $138. The circuits does have on timeout defined. So write this. Create by timeout. Create into original. Timeout. Timeout. This is not the same. It is the same. And the timeout should be defined. Oh, is it because I'm doing it wrong? Totally be that I'm doing it wrong. How can it have no on timeout but it's able to execute free? Hmm. Let's look to see if it's doing something. Nah, it's the same. We got this food bar madness. And there's only one cell. That shouldn't be necessary. Let's switch this up. 10 to 3. That does seem to be working better. That's not. Why does it do that? Because there's different ones. One, two, three. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1. Yeah. That's weird. So now if I set this to 300, what I'm thinking is correct, then I expect the 10-second one to still fire. And if I get rid of this completely, it's still doing it. Why is it doing it? And where is it getting that code? How am I running this? No, we're not running AP scheduler, we're running Flask AP scheduler. So there could be a significant difference between those two. I guess we might want to try that. This thing. Okay, how does this magic happen? Config. We do app config from object. Okay, so now we got that running at least. We want to see the jobs. There's no jobs. There's stuff running, but there are no jobs. It could be just due to the fact that the restart isn't like a real restart. That is also very, very annoying, but you know, it kind of makes sense. But if you restart the server automatically in debug mode, why doesn't actually remove anything? It's like the database gets cleared, but the jobs that were scheduled don't go away. And that, I guess, appears to be what is happening. So at least we understand that. So do jobs, there's no jobs. Set a, let's put a 10-second as before. Does that, and then on timeout, let's print something exciting. It's just one thing. It's not rely on the autocompiler. So run it from here. Set is not defined. Okay, so let's cancel that. Okay, so hopefully that works just once. Nope, there's a choice. Okay, so it's not related to the resets. Is cron a possibility for us? I think not. That is annoying. This isn't like automatic, is it? By some strange thing. An eventual job that is happening, but just pets. Actually, let's print. Do things again. There's page header, start server. 10 seconds, we should just see from Python. And it is called choice. Why? Such a mystery. Go here and look at jobs. A job called follow-up. Misfire grace time seems like something. Nope, it doesn't. Man, thought that would work. Like the misfire grace time, that it was like 1, so like maybe it was just kind of slow, and then it was doing it again. So I did have some hope, but I don't have hope anymore. Might need to switch this out. Now, it is possible for the agent to be programmed in a way where it doesn't matter if it's getting two pings at once. But I really only get pinged once. Would make life easier. Let's look at the source again. I'm pretty sure if I didn't run this, then nothing happens at all. Yeah, nothing happens there. So this is required. It's just one now. Why is it just one now? We only have one instance of this called one app. And removing it and running it and reverting it and running it caused it to work how? So weird. Anyway, so that is that. And from there, let's see, if we switch this from 10 to 60 and see if there will be a problem. Discord. This need to be online to send, like the Discord runtime needs to own the thread, and of course Flask also needs to own the thread, so that causes things to not work together. But I think channel send or post message, one of the two. It's just a simple thing that you could run other, like almost anywhere. we need to get the text channel. Just do this and channel set object. Okay, well, it is almost 2. I'm getting quite sleepy. And the thing that I was thinking would be possible with the interval, I mean, the interval is now working, so that's good. But being able to just send on Discord might not be something we can do. We need a text channel. And there's kind of no way for us to get one. So there's a lot more very small work than I was originally thinking we need to do. But that is the way of software. So not completely surprising. But I do have an early day tomorrow, so I'm going to cut the stream a little early today. Might stream on the weekend or something like that, like chill stream style, where I just finish up these things. Because we have the basics, right? In terms of the framework, I might take all these and like compound them into a single component. But I'd like to experiment with this in a visual way. And yeah, I'm going to try to make Discord work, then Slack, then something else. Yeah, and then when it comes to the collaborative agents, I need to think of the best way to implement that. I have like this weird idea in my head. I cannot articulate it though, so I need to spend some more cycles on that, I think. And the fact that subfolders and compiling happens in the root package means that we can't have folders, so we'll probably have to drop that one for now. And I mainly think the thing that we kind of need to do is re-implement the Hugging Face agents. Hugging Face agents are great, right? Nothing wrong with them. Well, there's a few things wrong with them, and one is the fact that it doesn't perceive, and we kind of need it to perceive. So, but it is kind of cool to be like, hey, can you translate from A to B, and then it just works. Although arguably you don't need to use a model for that. But it does also do OCR and things, so it is kind of neat. So, yeah. Not sure if we want to replace it or not. I think we probably need to replace it because it's a little too specific. So yeah, we might replace Hugging Face. So maybe on the next stream I'll be like looking into the Hugging Face agents and then just implementing it from scratch with some more steps involved with kind of trying things one at a time instead of all at once, and just make it a little bit more robust so that if it tries to step one and it fails, then it tries to rewrite step one. I think that's the main thing that I want in Hugging Face transformers, or in Hugging Face agents. So yeah, might need to do that ourselves. Anyway, I'm going to leave the stream here. Thanks for joining and following along. And yeah, any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to hop on our Discord and check out that Discord. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye for now.